I want to just comment on a few things that you had talked about. You said that that some of your groups were maybe progressing at the rate that that you felt that the manual had seemed to indicate. A few things.
Well, they just they're not progressing at the same rate as the manual yet. There's different. There's just different learning types and individuals in each group, and sometimes it's just different. So sometimes a kid, I mean, as you know, music is rhythm is kind of a innate thing, even though all of us possess rhythm and we are always using it, like when we walk and everything like that. But sometimes people are more in sync with given rhythm than others, as you know, right? It's like dancing. Some people can dance well, some people just have two left feet type deal. So I'm realizing that with some children, like some kids can get the rhythm right away, like you tell them once and they've got it. And then sometimes kids don't get it at all. You know what I mean?
So here's a few thoughts I'd like to share. I do think most people, um, even younger kids, have some inherent sense of rhythm, even if they're not getting it. Um, I kind of feel like it's because their brain's not in the right place. Um,
Yeah, maybe.
and it's like, look, you can have a basic sense of rhythm, but forever struggle with speeding up and slowing down as you play. It's like in Kidzrock, you can control that as the band director on guitar, or you can control it to 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 some degree. And look, your band speeding up or slowing down is probably the least of your concerns. You just want to get them playing together. Here's a few things that I do that I hope will help with this issue of kind of the overall quality of your band. I do a lot of it's called a pop quiz, where I'll say to the group, okay, what's the first note of the song? What's the second note? What's after that? And okay, drums. What two drums do you play in the song? Keyboard. Where I'm firing questions out at them,
Yeah, that's
and so
number 7.
yeah, well, and let's say, for example, I feel like the guitar players just, or maybe one guitar player in general, or specifically, is not getting the order of notes right. So without isolating that kid, I'll turn it into a group game, but I'm really focused on this one kid, making sure they get it. So let's say Shelby's struggling with her guitar notes, um, with the order of notes. I'll say, okay, and specific, and I'll maybe notice that Shelby doesn't go to the C sharp, that she's getting everything, but she keep missing that. I'll say, okay, keyboards, what's the name of your first chord? A. Okay, Brian on guitar, what's the name of your second chord? B. Shelby, what's the name of the third chord? C sharp. I'll do that, or I'll say, everyone play your first note. All right, everyone play your next note. So I'll take it out of the song and I'll have them review order of notes and rhythm. If they know the order of notes and they know the rhythm, even if they can't say it, even if they can just, I'm sorry, even if they can't play it, but they can say it out loud, you're on your way to getting that band.
I like that idea of instead of isolating the kid. I think that might be a mistake I've made in the past is isolating the one kid, especially when I discovered yesterday Hunter on drums, who was, literally playing to his own beat, and me isolating him and him actually getting tearful. Now
Yeah.
I know this kid well. I've had him for many years. He comes to my camps as well, my creative arts camp. So I know that he is a very sensitive child. But that aside, anybody might feel isolated if I would do that. So I really like the idea of actually turning it into a group thing.
Right.
Instead of,
And
I think what I struggle with is the pressure of meeting expectations and parents knowing that they're getting something out of this, like something worthwhile, as opposed to like just doing it and not like I think that's just the problem I have. So yeah. Anyways.
you know what will take pressure? And I know you said to me earlier that, due to your room setup, it's hard to bring the parents in at the end of class. Something you could do that wouldn't be too time consuming is maybe every other week send them an email. And it could be the same email to everybody. Like, here's what we did in class today. And what you did in class, if you're sticking to the lesson plan, you can just grab the lesson plan and maybe write a few sentences, specific to the group, because you want to take that pressure off. Like, it's really okay if your group sounds like a bit of a train wreck after week 4 or 5. Like, that's okay. And as long as you let parents know, like, look, my objective at this point is that the kids are learning the order of notes and they have a comprehension of the rhythm. My objective is not for them to sound like a cohesive unit. Then the parents go, okay, good, because they don't sound like a cohesive unit. But I'm glad you're letting me know what to expect, because you're the expert, and you just got to say to your parents, look, trust me, this is gonna, be good. And then in concert, I didn't ask you this, but are you getting, when they perform, are you getting other adults or older students to assist you in playing along? If you can find a couple, like, 13-year-olds in the school that are good players, you put one on drums or even a tambourine to help the drummer. You play guitar or bass, and then somebody else play guitar or bass, depending on what you're not doing, and then put another kid next to the keyboardist so that when they get lost, they can point to the keyboard as to where they're supposed to be. Now everybody's got, everyone. So now you've got this. Now each instrument has some type of cover and some type of assistance. Right. And look, and what I do in concert is I'll play guitar. I make sure that my guitar, not only in concert but in class, is a little bit louder than the real guitars. And then I'll just chug along. I'll play their part, but I'll play a power chord just to fill it out a little bit.
Yeah. So it's like that just comes across as nice, cohesive sounding.
Right. What I have found with this age group, to kind of go back to your point about some kids just not getting it, rhythmically, is if they hear you and two, well, that's a cool sound. What is that? Sounds like we're in a helicopter. If they get you, if there's you and two other people playing the rhythm correctly, they kind of like will fall into that pattern. So kids, I mean, I've had parents say to me all the time, "Oh my God, the group sounded great in concert. I've never heard them sound that good before." Well, it's because you had two other people playing, and those two people really allowed their child to hear exactly where they're supposed to be. Like, I've had concerts where the Kidzrock drummer, decides to be Keith Moon and just starts banging and makes zero effort to play their part. But I have another person playing their part on another drum set. So it's kind of like, oh, it works, even if you get another snare drum and a cymbal just to kind of help keep that kid. Something else that I think can help with group cohesiveness is going over the song while you're sitting at the gathering drum. So maybe holding up the guitar music and say, okay, everybody, I'm pointing to the music. What's the name of the first note? Good. A. What's the name of the note? Okay, good. Now let's.
I actually do that. We bring the books over and we actually they use their pointer finger and they track it. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, that worked. That did work well. I think all in all, it's been going really well, and the main issue, if you even want to call it that, is just me feeling like, they're not quite up to the expectation, and how like I'm not sure, like I think your thoughts and ideas on having others join with concerts will be super awesome. Yeah, that would really alleviate some of the pressure off me and me being vocal. I really don't want to be too vocal while we're playing, and I continue to be, because I'm noticing that kids are relying. Sometimes I have kids that just forget to look at the paper completely, like they don't look at the notes. They sort of try to rely on memory, which is fine, but sometimes, they just get a little lost, so I just call out the note, like you did in the video. But I don't want to do that during the concert. So what I've been doing, we've only had one concert, but what I did was, all right, next. That's what I would just say, next. And then I'd see them moving to the next, and that worked. That worked well. So that's good. But if I had guidance, I wouldn't even have to do that.
Every time you talk in concert, you're taking away from the musicality of the moment. But you have to talk. So that's sort of like, well, what do you do? Like, they really need you to talk. But it's something that you can really practice. So we do, I think the manual, or there's it's either in the manual or the new manual I'm working on, talks about getting the kids to memorize the music. Not that they will memorize, not that they'll play it that way in concert, but doing games like, okay, we're going to close the books now. Okay, raise your hand. What's the first note of the song? Good. What's the next note? Okay, good. Okay, now, like, I love your idea of just saying next. Say, guys, I'm going to play through it one time, and I'm going to say, here comes B. After the repeat, instead of me saying the name of the note, I'm just going to say next, or, some cue, and they have to memorize it and say, okay, guys, now we're going to try it without, and I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, like that would be, I guess, you could call that phasing out as well. So could start off with saying the actual note and then pairing it with a nod, and then taking that away and saying next, and then just eventually just nodding. If you want to lead the band, then you could let them know when I nod, that's the next note.
You know what we do is we take a microphone and plug it into a speaker, and that speaker's facing the kids, not out to the audience. I mean, they still hear you talking, they still hear you, but it's like, and also something that a lot of teachers do, and I really get on them about this, is they'll say the rhythm as they're playing. They'll say slow, fast, as they're playing. I say, let your guitar say the rhythm. The minute, like in practice, if you're doing it, whatever, it's not a big deal. But if you're in concert saying the rhythm while they're playing, you're completely consuming the music with your voice.
Yeah.
It's even more pleasant if you sing the cues. Get ready. Here comes B. It's like, it adds it's not as, it's more musical than just talking.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense too. Cool.
But yeah, the concerts, like, I feel that a band really could have one rehearsal and then play the concert if you've got things set up right, where a kid can make mistakes. Like, for example, I always have, so I play guitar as I'm conducting the band in concert, and then I have a helper on the bass sitting right next to the mixer where the guitar players are, and I say to them, if you hear a kid if the kid's trying, I let him stay in the mix. But our last concert, we had a boy who just decided to start playing all three strings and banging at once. So The helper just leaned over and took him out of the mix, completely out. The parent, right? He appears to be playing. He doesn't even hear that he's out of the mix.
Called the Linda McCartney effect. I'm just kidding.
That is hilarious. That is what that is great.
Oh, wow.
The Linda
I love it.
McCartney.
Right. There are a few other people who's should have had that technique applied to them. But yeah, no, right. Do the Linda McCartney. Just take the kid out. The kid doesn't know, and the parent won't know.
Yeah, totally.
And to be honest with you, the parent won't care. The parent will see. Well, look at my kid sabotaging the group. No one's going to complain about it.
Yeah.
And I also I make sure that the teacher's guitar their amp is separate than the amp that the kids are playing out of, and I put them side by side in concert. So really, what they're hearing is you, and they're hearing the correct way, and they will ultimately kind of mimic that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
I just want to share with you a couple things that I've noticed band directors do that they shouldn't do is counting the songs off correctly. That's important. Where you establish the rhythm first, you say the rhythm, and then you say, don't play it till I say play, and then count them off. So you're talking about a 3-measure, it's a 3-measure count off. Establish the rhythm, say it, and then count them off.
Okay.
And I don't know, but I have my kids, I only turn them on in the mixer, or I don't turn them on until I want to hear them play. So even during the count off, I have them turned off, and then that one measure before they got to play, I'll then turn them on, and hope that they're not already banging away. But do you use the hands up, sticks up, picks up?
No, yeah, I do. I didn't say hands up. Say that again.
So when the class is getting rowdy or I'm getting ready to count it off, I'll say,
I have my own thing I do. I sing that
say?
word. I sing the song, hands up, children, hands up, show me that you're listening. And then they all just put their hands up. But
That's great. I love that.
I only do that during the when we're in class. But for the concert, which we've only had one, I would say I actually didn't say anything. They were on their best behavior. They were really, really on last night when the parents were watching. So they were all ready to go. And you know what I've been doing is I've been giving the count off to the drummer because they actually really love it. And what they do is they tap their sticks together and they go, 1, 2, ready, play. And we all start playing together.
Wow.
And usually it works, but it sometimes fails miserably. But we do we make it part of the practice. But what I think I would like to do is add the extra 2 bars you're talking about, like the setup bar, as in this is the rhythm, say it slow, faster, whatever. And then I say, and then maybe perhaps count it and then get the drummer to do it. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
I think, okay, so here's what that would sound like. It's not a bad idea. I've had a lot of drummers want to click the drumsticks, and I won't let them. But I don't know. You could have them do it. You could go. I'll just kind of act it out. You go slow, slow, faster, slow. Turn to the drummer, and in the air go 1, 2, 3, 4 with them. Maybe they say it, but you just kind of make and then the band comes in, because most people count off Kidzrock songs too fast. And the kids, I mean, they really got to be from dum, 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 really slow. And that's the biggest with new Kidzrock instructors. I almost know I'm going to tell during the training. I will probably say to you that you're counting things off too fast. So I think I recommend like 60 beats per minute. Um, and then cueing the chords, not giving them a get ready, here comes B, B, kind of giving them a cue. Well, good. I'm glad we went over the count up. I mean, I'm not opposed to you having the drummer do it. It's just potentially a risky move, especially right, because you want that drummer to be, you're asking a drummer to count off 1, 2, 3. That's a slow. They want to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but in general, like it's all going really well, and I really love the program. I have fun teaching it, and the 45 minutes goes by really fast.
Yeah.
And I've got it down to a science now, where it's all sort of working out well. Like the gathering drum, we do the gathering drum, then we go play, and then like I said before, I think there are some differences. Like I will rotate every student during a class so that they all get a chance on the drums and the keyboard and the guitar. Usually what I do is I have the first session, like our practice session, I look at the notes from the week before and say Hunter was on drums the week before. That means he will be on a different instrument. This week we rotate the starting instrument, like you said. I think that's in the manual. And then they stay the longest on that instrument. And then after a particular time, usually 10 minutes, we do a rotation that's not as long. Each session's not as long, so that they get to have their time on that particular instrument, but it's not the session instrument. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
Yeah, so that way they're all happy, because I have experienced at the beginning kids getting tearful because they didn't get a chance on the drum.
And I think those are often tears to manipulate and get their way. Once they realize, kind of like, okay, I'm not, gonna, and you'll see that more with the 4 and the 5-year-olds. But I love that you have them rotate more than I do. Some of my teachers do what you do, and I say, yeah, as long as they know in concert this is what they're playing, it's fine.
Last night I said, okay, today's concert day, so the instrument you start on is the instrument you will be playing for the concert. And I assigned them the instrument, because I've been keeping track. I put like a little check beside what I think the student is, best at. So it's like, oh, well, Chloe's best on, she does really well on keyboards, the strongest instrument. So for a concert, I'll just keep that in mind. And then when we're at the gathering drum, it's the routine is we do our gathering drum routine where we do like the lesson, like the terminology and stuff like that. And then I look at the sheet from last week, and then I assign what instrument they're starting on, and it's been great. They do like that concept, and they're pretty cool with it. When I say, well, you got to start on drums last week, so this week you're starting on this instrument, and so starting on this one, they're always cool with that. So it's working well. And then for the concert, and then for the concert day, we started on the instrument. We actually stayed on the instrument because we didn't practice as long, because the parents came in halfway through the class and watched the concert. So they were cool with that, because they really wanted to get it. Because I'd be like, okay, this is our thing, so we want to stay on the instrument. Let's get her done really well, and that way we'll be ready for the concert. And they're usually cool with that too. So.
I wonder, you could do this little experiment. What if you took one song and said, okay, this, for the next 8 or 9 weeks, when we do song number 4, we're gonna switch. We're gonna play it, and then we're gonna switch instruments. When we do song number 6, everyone is gonna be on their set instrument. I wonder if the group, I wonder if their muscle memory would be better, where it's yeah, where it's just kind of like for example, I had a group yesterday, and I just say, okay, who, you guys know what you play on song 6? Okay, everyone go to your like they know, what their instrument is.
Okay, that's a good idea. So have one song, because there's always 2 songs, right? So have one song be there around the band, whatever we want to call it. There's an actual term for when you change instruments. Do you know what that is? I can't remember. Do you know? No.
The Linda McCartney effect? I don't know.
No. We called it something because when I was in a band a long time.
That would be called the Prince effect, when everyone changes in.
When everybody
Right.
switch, the Prince
Right.
effect. Anyway, so yeah, we should look for a band that actually does that and call it that. That'd be fun. So have one song be that, and then have the other song always be set in what instrument they're playing, so that, yeah, the muscle memory, and to know, like, okay, so for song number 6, we're going to do that for the concert. What instrument are you on? And that way they're, it'll be really, they won't be a little bit confused. They'll be solid on the one.
And it could be the easier song. The easier song could be the one that they switch. Like, for example, are you familiar with song number 12 in the book? Off the top of your head?
No, we've only gone up to song number 7. So we're like,
okay,
we do song number 2 and 3, and we do song number 6 and 7, and not much in between, actually.
Yeah, no, and
Of the group, yeah.
So I have a group. Song number 12 is probably one of the hardest songs in the book, and it has a rest. Oh, do you know the song "My Backyard"? It's from the CD. So it goes boom, bum, bum, and has these rests in there, and it's in the book for them to play. And the kids go boom, and the drummer goes kra kra boom, kra kra boom boom. So he's like playing, the drummer's playing in those rests. And I had a group that, like, I gave it 3 or 4 weeks of like them working on it, and by week 4 I said, okay, they're not gonna get it. I gotta like switch them up, and I switched them to song 10, which is easier. But there's no way, if they were switching instruments, there's no way they could have. Right. There was no way that I'd even, because it would be, it would just be too demanding.
Yeah, there's repetition. You need repetition. Yeah, that's right. So that makes sense now for me. Like, yeah, repetition is key.
Well, like song one has no fretted notes on the guitar, so it's the only song like that. So that's a real easy one to rotate on.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think songs like 2, 3, and 4 only have one fretted note on the guitar.
They really, they do. Yeah, for sure.
So you've got that one note you got to deal with, and then after that, you start singing a lot more. Okay, well, great. Do you have any other questions or issues?
Mm-hmm. No, I can't think of any at the moment. I just want to say again that they love it, and the songs to sing are amazing because they're crafted in this way where they are just so easy for them to sing.
Right.
Kind of one note, but the chords are nice. Like they're great songs, and I have a kid. She's 7, and when we first got the CD for training in the summer, we listened to it constantly in the car, and she just loves it. Like for some reason, I don't know what, but they're magical tunes, right? The kids, they're very well geared towards the age and all the things. Do you have kids yourself, or?
I do, and they were very instrumental in the topics. Even if I didn't talk to them about it, I would just look at their lives and go, okay, what are they into?
The only thing I don't like is the line, stay up till midnight. Have you seen the sunrise?
The one I don't like is the one about riding around town in a limousine.
Oh, I know.
That-
That's rock and roll.
That line bothers me. It's like I don't want kids to aspire to ride around town in a limousine. Staying up to midnight, I'm okay with, because my kids, I'll never forget my son. The very first time he stayed up till midnight, it was like such a big deal. Or no, it was New Year's Eve, and he was trying to stay up till midnight, but he couldn't make it.
He couldn't do it. So yeah, have you ever stayed up till midnight? It's a good question, because they probably haven't, but they really aspire to do it.
Right. Now, unfortunately, many of them have seen the sunrise when they were 3 months old, and they were waking us up.
Yeah,
But
no, I was only joking though. No, it's really good. They're all great.
Well, next time they sing about riding around town in a limousine, think about me, because I'll be cringing.
With a bottle of JD.
That will be the 25-year-old version.
All right.
Well, Shelby, it was great talking with you, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, wonderful. Oh, did Ed mention that? Yeah, we were thinking, because I'm a special needs teacher, I actually do use your program on a special needs student of mine.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
He's an adult. He's like, I think he's around 18. But he has the sort of mental brain functioning of a child. And he's nonverbal. But his rhythm is impeccable. And I've tried everything with him. I tried, because his parents have him in music lessons, and I tried to teach him piano, basic rudiments, such like that. But he has a lot of trouble using his fingers, as most special needs people do. Like their small growth, like their fine growth motor skills are kind of different. And I'm finding that the two-finger technique and playing the Kidzrock songs have been super successful for him. Like he feels on top of the world, and I play with him. So he plays, when he's playing bass, I play keyboards. We just rotate. It's been great.
Wow, thank you for sharing that story with me. We did Kidzrock once in a nursing home, and yes,
playing right away, and that's the most gratifying thing for people, to be able to play, because a lot of people think music's hard, and it's not really. It can get complicated, but it's not. It's not that hard.
Well, your hands and right, it's just getting your body trained, and then once your body is trained to play, they can do it. But it's like, yeah, you put a guitar in a person's hand and say, okay, we're going to try to learn Here Comes the Sun. It's physically, it's so demanding of them. But once they develop those motor skills and the muscle memory, then it's like, oh, this is actually relatively easy.
Yeah. So cool. Okay, I got to go.
Okay. Thanks, Shelby.
So much for calling. Yeah. So, yeah, anytime. So
Great.
I'll be in touch with you if I have any more questions.
Yeah. Keep my number and reach out.